Shalom, Israel. It's your brother New Breed coming through with another news brief. So apparently, Magic Johnson credits Dr. Fauci for helping him through his HIV diagnosis. Man, oh man, you cannot make this stuff up. The rabbit hole goes very deep, ladies and gentlemen. As you enter the chat, make sure you hit it with a thumbs up on the way in. For a lot of you all, this broadcast is going to be very educational. You're going to look at things from a different perspective when it comes to quote unquote diseases, in particular HIV, which happens to be an immune deficiency, a virus that has destroyed many lives, similar, and I mean very similar, to the so-called pandemic that just passed. And there's a lot of commonalities here. And there's a lot of people out there not operating in the vein of logic. But over here on New Breed Global Truth, we got some pretty logical people. But for the mass majority, they're just not going to get it. I don't know what the pandemic has done to people, ladies and gentlemen. It has truly created a society full of psychopaths. You got people running around right now with all the mask mandates that have been lifted off the people, just to show you the psychological distortion that has been created through that last campaign that the worlds went through. You got people still running around with masks on in the cuff of summertime. Matter of fact, you got people who are going crazy on other individuals because they're not wearing masks, although the mandates have been lifted. And the same media that's been lying to you about every single thing told you that the mandates was over. But the people, just to show you how poison and toxic the media can be on the people and how much of a strong influence it can have. Your Uber driver is looking at you like something wrong with you because you don't want to get in her or his Uber with a mask on. They looking at you like you broke a cardinal sin. Although the so-called powers that be are not even pushing it. Logic has been thrown out of the window. And now we have Magic Johnson, the man who was diagnosed with HIV in the early 90s, who since have gained 60 to 70 pounds, made the dream team, gained a movie theater, became a multi-millionaire, and have been living his best life. I don't see no patches on this man's face. I don't see no type of immune deficiencies displaying on him. So he must have the best doctor's money can buy. That's what most people think. Let's leave it at that. The mass majority believes since he has money, he can protect himself from any kind of sickness or any kind of virus. Yeah. The same way Eddie Bishop Long did, huh? He was a millionaire too, but when the Most High God is ready to strike a person, boom, they out of there. Right? But anyway, I want to play this video. I want to react. I want to chime in. I'm going to educate you all on some things. Lafayette, thank you for the $5 contribution. Highly appreciated. Thank you for the support. Yeah. What we're looking at here is a Luciferian initiation. You're right. Amika, you're right. But let's get to it. Let's hear what has to be said here.
Dr. Fauci, Dr. Ho, they both really helped me to be here. They helped me understand that I had to take my meds. I had to be comfortable with my new status, make sure I kept a positive attitude and keep working out. And so I've been doing that. Here I am 30 years later, right? And
wow. Right. Wow. And he's on The View.
But I must tell you this. If Cookie would have left, I probably wouldn't be here.
His wife, Cookie, who also does not have HIV, by the way.
Well, let me think.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, how can I say this as clear as day?
Tell my people it's time to stop.
How can
Tell my people it's time to stop believing bullshit. Just because a motherfucker tell you bullshit with a straight look on their face. We too old. We too smart. We too motherfucking good to believe shit. Don't make no fucking sense. You too old to be believing it.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think Cat Williams just said it. I think Cat Williams just said it real good. It's real clean cut. I think that was direct enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Fauci, he credits Dr. Fauci for helping him get through his diagnosis with HIV. For those who don't know about HIV and the history of it, Dr. Fauci, he worked very close with the inception of the virus. Since its inception, rather. There's a whole lot of parallels between HIV and COVID. A whole lot. Matter of fact, there's whole documentaries on it. If you would like, I can play a brief sermon or a brief clip from it. Now, for those who can remember properly, once the pointy things were issued, how many people remember this? Your blood can no longer be donated. Why? Because your blood will have spike protein. The white blood cells that your blood will carry will be transformed through the mRNA technology. That's stated. Soon as the so-called the pointy thing was issued, there were no more donating blood to Red Cross, Blue Shield. No, the vampires didn't even want to drink your blood. After you got the the vampires don't even want to drink your blood. And now we're hearing that Magic Johnson is crediting Dr. Fauci. Man, you know what? They are really, having a good time making a mockery of our people. Because we'll hear this from Magic Johnson and say, well, we can trust Dr. Fauci. If he kept Magic Johnson alive, if he said, go take your meds, if you go take your medication, it's going to keep you alive. Even if you got HIV, maybe we should listen to him with whatever they have planned for us. Because this is just the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what type of puppet, what type of black boule, what type of deceiver, mason, satanic initiate that Magic Johnson is. Ladies and gentlemen, before HIV was mainstream within the so-called black community, it was known as a virus that was only spread amongst the LGBTQ community. That's just a fact. Matter of fact, back in those days, they believed it was a rare form of cancer. And they believed it spread it through anal cavities and things of that nature, because if you're doing something that's against nature, it can cause this rare form of cancer. And this is what the documentary state. Fauci, he was right there when all of this was going on. It was unheard of melanated men catching HIV until one man, and one man alone, stepped up and said, because he's been sleeping with a lot of women, he has HIV. Now, an immune deficiency disease, ladies and gentlemen, that simply means you have underlying health problems. That means something is wrong with your immune system. Something is going on in your body where you're not getting the proper nutrition. You're not healthy. That's all HIV means. You have an immune deficiency. Under the guise of philanthropy, they went off into Africa and started to do these mass diagnoses. See, I'm going to give y'all some history. They started what you would call a eugenics program under Bill Clinton. Do your research. They went over there to Africa, Fauci, Bill Gates, and others. Went over there and they diagnosed several children and adults with HIV. Why? Because they had immune deficiencies. Why? Because they didn't have the proper nutrition. So, of course, their immune systems wouldn't be holding up like an immune system of a person who has running water, vitamin C daily, water, vitamin D, vegetables, fruits. These children were starving. They would have these pot bellies because there would be a defense mechanism for their immune system to bloat. They were diagnosing them with HIV and they were giving them medicine. This medicine was called AZT. The AZT alone, reading what the outcome of what the disease, the AZT does, the actual medication causes basically radiation. The same thing for cancer treatment. What happens when you go through radiation? You begin to lose your hair, your skin begins to turn pale, you begin to get very sickly, to ultimately you die. So what was happening was it was being used against us ultimately. Now, the scriptures tell us in John chapter 8, verse 44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there's no truth in him. When he speak of a lie, he speak of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. He's a liar and the father of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Fauci is a liar. Magic Johnson is a liar. The media, nothing but liars. The prince of the airwaves, all they're going to give you is lies. They're never going to tell you the truth. They're never going to tell you the truth. Magic Johnson was used to actually promote this particular virus in our community. Similar to how you had various celebrities come forth, right? When the pandemic hit, you had Idris Elba. Oh yeah, the puppets are being used on a string. You had Idris Elba come up and say, yeah, I got it. You had a number of celebrities. You had Slim Thug from over there in Houston. He said, yeah, I got it. Yeah. You had all of these taskmasters come forth to say that they got the cough. So this man has been used for over 30 years to push something that is actually not even true. Ladies and gentlemen, the fear of catching a virus that will terminate your immune system. That is the reason why they rolled out contraception in the form of condoms. They were spreading this whole thing about safe sex. Now, don't get me twisted. Listen, as long as there's going to be inordinate sexual proclivities among people, as long as there's going to be sin, no chastity, no modesty, all this perversion, sickness, bestiality, as long as all these things are happening, there are going to be diseases out here. Let's make that clear. But what the contraception was designed to do was stop you melanated people from populating, reproducing, bringing forth life. Right now, you got this whole campaign going on with all of our women bragging about how many pregnancies they have terminated. I seen a sister with a shirt on social media said I had 25 pregnancy terminations. And it's not about freedom to choose. It's about the other nations aren't populating at our same rate. There's always been eugenics programs. It's always been about depopulation. Georgia Guidestones let you know that. Yeah, Magic Johnson sold out big time. Joseph Moses, Israel, thank you for the scripture, says Romans 13:11. And that knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of thy sleep. And now is our salvation nearer than we believed. It's time for people to wake up. It's time to break free from your slumber. The truth is, these people are liars. I'm gonna play a brief clip from a documentary. And it's talking about, I'm not going to show it on the screen. I don't want to get hit with copyright, but fair use. And this is talking about HIV back in the 90s. Let's hear it out.
Now the leading cause of death.
AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. No one with AIDS has been cured.
AIDS is now the leading cause of death among young people in this country.
I came out in my freshman year of college in 1983, and so this was something that I had to deal with every single day.
While difficult to look back, Jeff Graham says there are familiar parallels between the AIDS epidemic of the 1980s and today's coronavirus pandemic. Graham is the executive director of Georgia Equality, an LGBTQ organization.
And there was so much that was unknown at the time. Frankly, the sense of not knowing.
Now, they have a member of the LGBTQ speaking on the parallels between the virus that just passed and HIV. Very interesting. Hopefully, y'all starting to connect some dots here, right? And Fauci was in the midst of all of this. Let's get it.
What to do, not knowing where you can go for information.
Before we knew what caused AIDS, scientists called it cancer. The unknown bred fear. Today, there is still much to learn. Known bred fear.
Listen, they believed there was a rare form of cancer that hit homosexuals, right? Now, I'm going to read a little bit of this. It says, there's an unusually high rate among homosexual men in the New York and California's. The National Center for Disease Control reported yesterday during the last 30 months, 20 homosexual men in New York City and 6 in California were found to have what they call Kaposi sarcoma, an often fatal form of cancer, the center said. So they really believed it was a form of cancer. It started off as a form of cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, it was the Most High God judging these individuals. You cannot put a mark on what HIV is, so they had to put it all into one thing and say, it's just an immune deficiency. But really, they were treating it like cancer, right? It was unheard of to even hit our community. Same thing as the virus that just passed. Look at the parallels, ladies and gentlemen. When this virus first hit, how many people in the Black community was like, oh, that Corona? Oh, man, we ain't Corona. I drink Corona sometimes, but how many people wasn't worried about that in our community? Look at the parallels here. We was like, oh, those white men in California and New York who out there having, dealing with same-sex relations. That's their thing. We ain't worried about that all until the man on your screen stepped up and said, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. That's when we took it serious. Telling you, it's crazy, man. All right, let's continue.
Today, there is still much to learn about COVID-19, creating similar anxiety.
What is this virus? How dangerous and deadly is it? What are the repercussions? How many folks will get sick? How do you deal, frankly, when your friends and family members die unexpectedly? Those are some of the issues that we're going to have to be dealing with that are the same.
At first, much of the public incorrectly thought only gay men contracted AIDS. Right now, some still think the coronavirus is a threat to only the elderly, as these spring breakers showed us last month.
What is there to
Tell
do
my
here?
people it's time
Go to the bars
to
and
stop.
the beach, and they're closing all of it. It's really messing. I think they're blowing it way out of proportion.
We had a really extraordinary meeting.
What?
Yo, I mean,
I guess drank each other's blood.
Tell my people it's time to stop believing bullshit.
It's time to stop believing the bull S. The parallels are just way too close. Magic Johnson been a puppet for the gatekeepers for a long time. Real demons at work that he and others are a part of. That's a fact. Yeah, I mean, and look at the effects that this whole disease has had on people, the one that just passed. I mean, you got people going off on other people in airports because there's no more mask mandates. You got people going off on people because there's no mask mandates. And it's one gentleman I seen. He's like, you guys are putting my life at risk. Listen, when you stepped out of your household, if you believe that that virus is spreading like that, you're putting your own life at risk. These people are maniacs. Hey, but what Kanye West say? You can cure anything if magic made it. You can cure everything if magic made it. Ain't that what Kanye said? And guess what? Guess what group Magic Johnson's son play a part of? The other team, the letter group. It's all connected. It's all Black Boule. Yeah, man, it's crazy. I really wanted to cover this news brief to let you so you can see the similarities here and how they target our community. We got to stop falling for this fraudulent activity. Listen, if you are dealing with a married bed, the married bed is undefiled. If you're not dealing with whoredom, if you're not out here living all reckless and wild, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you out here trying to do the right thing, where's your faith? Where's your trust? Stop letting these people create these fear tactics against us. Magic Johnson's a liar. Magic Johnson's been used by the powers that be. We got plenty more content coming, ladies and gentlemen. If you like to support my work, support me at newbreed.love. I'm about to go live on my other channel for a short amount of time, And that live is going to be exclusive for Patreon members. So turn your post notifications on. Go over there and subscribe. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your head on a swivel. Stop falling for the nonsense. I love y'all. Shalom and peace.